First of all, I would like to particularly welcome as well my predecessor, Commissioner Fischler, but as well they are the fighters for the fair defense of our agricultural products in Brussels, and here in the first row there are several of them. Paulo de Castro as the rapporteur on this important file, but as well Francesco, who is fighting to defend as well the origin, and sometimes I think it's very important to say so because there is a lot of things going wrong, and thank you for defending them. But as well Dario Nardella is, Paulo, a little bit your successor in Brussels, so I'm very glad that he is taking up these big shoes as well. And for me it is a great honor to stand before you at this very distinguished gathering marking the 25th anniversary of Qualivita Foundation and the 7th edition of this pivotal forum, and thanks very much for the organizers of gathering so many people that are defending our cultural heritage, which is our food production in Europe. Thank you for that. And I'm delighted to join key institutional representatives and European organizations from across geographical indication system to share this platform with the esteemed colleagues that I have already mentioned, but as well the ministers that were digitally with us today. And over the years, this event has cemented its status as a European reference point for insightful discussion and exchange on geographical indications, playing a crucial role in shaping the future of our agri-food sector. And as we look to the 2025 edition, the focus remains on the future of the EU quality policy, a testament to our ongoing commitment to excellence. And let me underline that following a 4-year review process, a new regulation on geographical indications is in place since May last year, and of course Paulo de Castro was the rapporteur on that. And what is the added value of the new GI regulation? I would say it's qualified by 3 S's: simpler, stronger and sustainable. And after 30 years, we have finally succeeded in creating one single registration and protection procedure for all GI products, making the process more transparent and simpler. And geographical indications have long been a cornerstone of the European agriculture policy, deeply rooted in our history and in our culture. And we are gathered here in Italy, a country where the concept of GIs dates back to the ancient times, when products from specific geographical areas were recognized for their unique qualities, and this recognition evolved over years into formal legal protections. And in the European Union, GIs are an essential part of the common agriculture policy. This has been mentioned, ensuring that names associated with excellence and authenticity are preserved and protected. But of course, I would just make, because some, Franz Fischler, but as well Luis Planas, made the reference to the global scale. And I think there we have to do more. And I would as well make a reference to the importance of trade agreements, because in trade agreements we actively protect our geographical indications, and for political reasons, but as well for family reasons, I've traveled a lot to Latin America. One of my favorite dishes is carpaccio. And on carpaccio, of course, you have to put your Parmigiano Reggiano. And when you go to the supermarkets, you will see Parmigiano Reggiano, hugely expensive because of the import taxes, and besides queso tipo Parmigiano, which is the copy of it. It's not the same product, let's be honest. And of course, we have to see as well there are the opportunities when we do trade agreements. With these agreements, the copy is disappearing. Our product is getting more attractive to the consumers because the price is going down, and there are huge opportunities to seize. And the same goes with French products. For you see in those supermarkets, you see the queso tipo Roquefort, which is not the product. The original is there as well, but it's too expensive. Those are all European originating people as well, and they want the original if it is affordable. And so I think we have to do this as well. And the GIs, of course, contribute significantly to our economy as well. In third countries, I mentioned it, we are exporting around 70 billion more of agriculture goods that we are importing, and so we are heavily dependent on that. And also another example, because the US has been mentioned by several of you as well, I think they are, of course, trying actively to undermine our system, and that is a real danger. I had the representatives from the US dairy representatives there, and the guy was telling me again, since I just spoke about Parmigiano Reggiano, we want to send our Parmesan cheese to Europe. I say this is no Parmesan cheese and our consumers don't want it. And first of all, we have to recognize our original, and then we can talk about any imports. But I think that is very important to be reminded. And it is also, according to recent studies, the case that products protected by geographical indications generate an estimated value of over 75 billion annually, and this represents a substantial portion of the EU's agriculture output. And in fact, GI products can command prices that are at least twice as high as those for similar products without GI protection, thanks to their recognized qualities and origin, and this is beneficial not only for the final producer, but as well for all the participants in that respective value chain. And also, more than 3,600 names are registered as GIs in the EU, covering agri-food products, wines and spirits, illustrating the range and diversity of our culinary legacy. And geographical indications are not only a symbol of Europe's rich cultural heritage, but also a powerful economic driver. They account for a remarkable 15.5% of the European Union's total agri-food exports, underscoring their significance in the global market. And therefore, I'm very proud that we are conducting as well twice a year the so-called high-level group delegations to third countries. I prefer to call them agri-food diplomacy missions, and I had the opportunity to bring one to Japan, 120 European agri-food businesses, one to Brazil now recently in October. Our producers want these markets. The next mission is going in May to Thailand, and I would invite all of you who are willing to export to these markets to apply as well for this particular missions. And in particular, wines stand out as the most significant GI product category, contributing as well to over half of the total sales value and extra EU trade. And the reach of European geographical indications extends around the globe, with the United States, China and Singapore emerging as key markets. And these countries collectively account for half of the export value of our GI products. And this impressive figure demonstrates as well the universal demand for the exceptional quality and authenticity that European geographical indications offer, but it shows as well with these big countries, if something goes wrong, then of course the entire sector is under threat, and we need to be more diversified when it comes to these exports. And the protection of GIs is a win-win for EU producers, consumers, and the overall society, and it provides additional market value for producers, stronger guarantees for consumers as well. And in a broader view, it creates a direct link between EU policy and its citizens. And I think this link between the producer, between the territories, and between the consumer is something we need to re-establish, because there the trust is generated and the preference as well for the European products. And despite the latest improvements resulting from the legal framework that has recently only come into effect, we remain focused on further fine-tuning this policy. And this has been asked by many of you. And this means no immediate changes to the new EGI regulation, also in order to allow farmers and producers for a certain stability. This is very important as well. However, we need also a strategic framework to guide the successful implementation of our legal framework. And therefore, I would like to announce today that the Commission has the intention to adopt an action plan for GIs in 2027. And I would, of course, like to ask you all to start contributing with your ideas on this. So let's make this event tonight the first step in this collective reflection. And moreover, we need to ensure a good geographical indication chapter in our free trade agreements with clear enforcement rules as well, because it has been said by Francesco as well, we can have the best rules, if we don't enforce them, they are almost worthless. So that is very important, and in fact, the EU is actively engaged both multilaterally and bilaterally to strengthen the protection of these indications and to enhance enforcement mechanisms aiming to prevent the misuse and unauthorized use of EU GIs across the globe. And GIs are also closely linked to the issue of origin, to quality, to promotion, and the proper information provided to consumers. And under the Common Market Organization, our market standards already provide origin labeling rules for several products, such as fresh fruit and vegetables, honey and olive oil. And in the ongoing CMO review, we are discussing extending marketing standards to all agriculture products, which would allow us to assess the possible introduction of mandatory origin labeling for additional products in the future. And additionally, we have proposed a clearer definition of short supply chains so that consumers can know from which farms agricultural products or their raw materials originate from. And we are also currently discussing the issue of meat denominations to ensure that consumers receive accurate, transparent information and are not misled, because I have to tell you, a lot of the products out there are misleading. I think where meat is written on and the meat denomination is on, it should as well be meat in and not something that comes from the lab. And also allow me to share some final consideration on promotion policy. This has been mentioned by many of you. In 2026, the European Commission will allocate a record of 205 million to promote high quality and sustainable EU agriculture products. So this goes up from 132 billion annually to 205 billion. It is, for me, still not enough. Again, I would say we have to look what other actors in the world are doing. The US has tripled their budget for promotion. I think that is very important. It's not only about opening the door with a trade agreement, it is as well getting the foot and the whole body through that door and get into the market, and that is why we need to make the promotion policy even more effective. And the budget will support very diverse initiatives, including co-funded programs by producer groups and agri-food trade bodies promoting EU quality schemes, organic farming and sustainable production. And the work programme also foresees a number of initiatives to be run directly by the European Commission. And as I said, I will personally as well participate 2 high-level missions to the next one in Thailand, as told you. So it is not only about making the B2B, this is a very important part, of course, for our business, but it is as well a good opportunity for the political side to rule out certain non-tariff barriers that still persist. And when we were in Brazil, we could rule out many of them. So we got, for example, the pre-listing of all animal originating products, so our cheeses, our hams and mortadellas and whatever we want to export there, we have the pre-listing now, so this is very important as well. And also a new initiative for next year will be the Buy EU Food campaign. We will aim within the internal market to enhance trust in the EU food quality and safety, while also deepening connections between citizens and the European farming communities. And announced by President Ursula von der Leyen in her State of the Union speech in 2025, the campaign will raise awareness of the high quality of EU agri-food products among EU consumers and highlight the role of the farmers. And the campaign will span all 27 member states starting in 2026, with efforts tailored to local contexts to maximize engagement and foster positive attitudes towards EU agriculture products. And to conclude, let me underline that geographical indications are vital to promoting and sustaining Europe's cultural diversity and economic strength. And they ensure that when you taste a product, you are experiencing the essence of its origin. And together we can craft then this action plan that not only protects but amplifies the reputation and impact of our geographical indications across Europe and across the world. And I would once again thank the organizers of Qualivita for bringing us together tonight. Together we have to fight to make our food safe, to bring the link to the territories. And just to close, we had a discussion in the College of Commissioners about the culture compass. And everybody was surprised that I, as agriculture commissioner, intervened. So I said clearly in the beginning, you might be surprised, but in agriculture is the word culture. And culture represents our culture, our gastronomic culture, as well our cultural heritage when it comes to the landscapes. And that is something that we need to protect, because there's so much depending. It's not only the farmers, it's the transforming industry, it's the tourism branch, and in the end it's all the citizens, because with this we are maintaining our landscapes, and therefore the GIs are more important than ever. And I agree completely with you. We have to enhance as well the uptake in the new member states, because this is then as well playing for the producers, and I think there everybody has to win. Thank you very much for inviting me, and have a good evening.
Grazie al commissario Hansen.